Hey, hold on. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly as a woman anchoring the show. Did you say, what did you just say?
This whole interview is becoming a defensive interview.
No!
Before CNN went full Russia on us, it used to host actual intellectual debates and arguments.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton. Hello, Thank you very much. You're very welcome.
I really want you to notice, Tucker, that this is a wingtip. It's a right-wing tip.
That's why you'll notice the majority of this list is pre-Trump era. It did used to be somewhat even playing ground on CNN, but now, in times where CNN doxes meme makers, gets exposed for fabricating stories...
The Russia thing is just a big nothing burger.
Really? You don't think that,
There's nothing there you can do.
Or feeds debate questions to candidates. In order to keep the opposition from making valid points, they conduct themselves behind a fake veil of moral platitudes and virtuousness.
And I am concerned, as many Americans are, about giving a birthday present to a man who is seen as a despot who just had his uncle executed.
You'll find links to all of these videos in the description, which I encourage you to go watch in their entirety, and not just on my contextualized, transformative video.
Gonna copy strike him. Yo! Can we copy strike PewDiePie's latest video?
Here are 8 of CNN's most politically incorrect videos. Before Rodman was wearing MAGA hats in North Korea, he made several trips to the country to visit Supreme Chancellor Kim Jong-un, one of which was made with the Harlem Globetrotters basketball team to play against North Korea's team. On a segment with CNN, resident tough guy Chris Cuomo questioned Rodman on Kenneth Bay. Real name Pei Jun-ho was charged with attempting a religious coup in North Korea, setting up bases, as well as conducting a smear campaign. That is, according to His Excellency's media spokespeople, or whatever they are. Let's just say Rodman wasn't too pleased that his feel-good trip was being used by CNN to bring up political talking points.
Kenneth Bay did something wrong. We don't even know what the charges are. Don't use these guys as a shield for you, Dennis.
Listen.
Ain't no shield. I got it. Let me do this. Really, I'm gonna tell you one thing. People around the world, I'm gonna do one thing. You guy behind the mic right now, we are the guys here doing one thing. We have to go back to America and take the abuse. Do you have to take the abuse? Well, we gonna take it. Do you, sir? Let me know. Are you gonna take that abuse? We're gonna get it. But guess what, though? One day, this door's gonna open.
And it turns out that Rodman was kind of right in the end, wasn't he?
I've always been thin-skinned. I've been thin-skinned from day one.
Non-President Donald Trump has been in the media for over 30 years expressing his views, which is why it's so interesting for outlets like CNN to pretend now that he is this and that and the other once he took office. In 1990, Trump sat down with CNN Money for what was almost unheard of at the time, criticizing a reporter right to their face. Without the internet, these things were usually easily contained by the media. You wouldn't hear people saying that the media were horrible unless it was right after they had their image damaged, so people wouldn't really believe them anyway. This video is proof that Trump had issues with CNN long before he was president, dating back to the times of Vanilla Ice, who also actually got railroaded in the media now that I think of it.
Here so far. I thought your demeanor was inaccurate. I thought that questions that you were posing to people in my organization were inaccurate and false. Do this interview with somebody else.
We were talking about this yesterday on the phone. This is exactly what we talked about.
Do the interview with somebody else, really. Yeah, you don't need this. Do it with somebody else. And have a good time. Because frankly, you're a very negative guy, and I think it's very unfair reporting. Good luck.
I disagree with you. Sorry you feel that way.
In America, Piers Morgan seemed very disconnected from American issues, whereas in the UK he is seen as more conservative, often being lambasted with claims of misogyny or hate. And whether you agree with him or not, I think it's fair to say he's pretty reasonable. Before he got the boot from CNN, he was part of some very non-PC moments, including one with then Breitbart editor Ben We Live in a Society Shapiro. From Piers' point of view, he thinks an outright ban on some weapons would stop some violence, whereas Shapiro pointed out that the talking point is invalid, and a specific tragedy should not be used to push legislation that likely would not have changed anything, especially considering an assault weapons ban previously put into action solved little to nothing. Ah, the gun debate. So simple, right? What followed was an intense debate that you're going to want to watch the full version of.
You've kind of been a bully on this issue because what you do, and I've seen it repeatedly on your show, I watch your show, and I've seen it repeatedly, what you tend to do is you tend to demonize people who differ from you politically by standing on the graves of the children of Sandy Hook, saying they don't seem to care enough about the dead kids. If they cared more about the dead kids, they would agree with you on policy. I think we can have a rational political conversation about balancing rights and risks and rewards of all of these different policies, but I don't think that what we need to do is demonize people on the other side as being unfeeling about what happened in Sandy Hook.
How dare you accuse me of standing on the graves of the children that died there? How dare you?
I've seen you do it repeatedly, Piers.
Like I say, how dare you?
Well, I mean, you can keep saying that, but you've done it repeatedly. What you do, and I've seen you do it on the program, is you keep saying to folks that if they disagree with you politically, then somehow this is a violation of what happened in Sandy Hook. And you have yet, I'd really like to hear your policy prescriptions for what we should do about guns.
You're also going to want to watch this one with dearest Alex Jones and Piers Morgan. Jones and Morgan also battled over the gun debate. Sadly, what transpired was Alex Jones being Alex Jones, and Piers simply dismissing factual evidence in favor of stubborn, dogmatic belief against guns.
Answer is, hey, wait a minute, I have FBI crime statistics that come out a year late, 2011. 20+% crime drop in the last 9 years. Real violent crime, because more guns means less crime. Britain took the guns 15, 16 years ago, tripling of your overall violent crime. True, we have a higher gun violence level, but overall muggings, stabbings, deaths, those men raped that woman in India to death with an iron rod 4 feet long. You can't ban the iron rods.
But at least we got some very memeable moments, didn't we?
The tyrants did it. Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
In the words of Conor McGregor, you have to be bulletproof. The Irish MMA star came on CNN to promote himself, but CNN's host had other motives, that being to get him to bash Donald Trump's candidacy. CNN and others have helped create an aura that it's socially acceptable or even cool to confirm any negative stereotypes about Trump, and what makes this non-politically correct is that you can tell that they expected McGregor to just agree. Now, watch how he says he's seen as the divisive character here, as if that's simply everyone's opinion. However, Conor, he just doesn't care, CNN. He doesn't.
In that he is seen as divisive here, and you are trying to unify and bring people together. How does he stand in your mind as someone who has come out and been a divisive character?
Again, I haven't really been. I've seen it all. Like, I've seen some stuff on TV and things, but I haven't really seen anything. I've been just seeing some debates and some verbal warfare going back and forth, and someone trying to win and another person trying to win, and both of them going to certain steps to try and get that victory. It's similar to what I'm involved in a way. But as far as conniving and this divisive or anything like that, I haven't seen anything like that, so I cannot comment on that. I do not know.
Okay, gotcha.
I also do not care.
Joan Rivers may not be your favorite, rest in peace, but deserved credit for pushing boundaries throughout her entire career. You'll happily see this interviewer completely change her tune once Rivers calls her out for blatant hypocrisy and negativity.
While it's very mean in some ways, people can't wait to hear what you have to say. Really? It's not mean?
It's not mean. I tell the truth. I'm sure I say the same things that all your viewers say to their friends sitting next to them on the couch.
You have some shock value to you. I mean, on the cover of your book, you're wearing a fur, and you knew that there would probably be animal rights activists.
This whole interview is becoming a defensive interview.
No!
Are you wearing leather shoes?
Yes!
Shut up.
I'm talking.
You know what I mean? I don't want to hear. You're wearing fur. You're wearing leather shoes.
I'm not an activist, but I'm saying
you're eating chicken.
Yeah.
You're eating meat. I don't want to hear this nonsense. Come to me with a paper belt, and I'll talk to you.
No way, Joan, I'm not being negative. I'm simply just pointing out the faux outrage that sensitive people have towards you so that we can kind of paint you as a divisive character, even though I'm guilty of mostly the same things. Shame, shame, shame.
You can't have this opinion. It's too conservative. We're not going to allow it.
During this next interview with Fox Radio host Clay Travis, I want you to think of the irony here. CNN's Don Lemon says every night that Trump is racist, they have panels calling him horrific names, broadcasts calling everyone they disagree with alt-right or far-right, yet this is somehow offensive to an adult.
I think that's a bad move. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I believe in only two things completely: the First Amendment and boobs. And so once they made the decision that they were not going to allow a conservative, non-sports related commentary, they couldn't do it either.
Hold on. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly as a woman anchoring the show. Did you say, what did you just say? You believe in the First Amendment and BWBS?
Boobs. Two things that have only never let me down in this entire country's history, the First Amendment and boobs. So those are the only two things I believe in absolutely in the country. And so I don't think Jemele Hill should be fired, but I do think straight up that once you make the decision that you are going to let Curt Schilling go, that you have to also make the decision that you're going to let Jemele Hill go.
Discussion
I'm
about something.
I'm still there too, and I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. BOOZE or BOOBS? Because as a woman, I'm
as in boobs. I believe completely in the First Amendment and in boobs. Those are the only two things I believe 100% in this country. And by the way, Jemele has absolutely nothing to do with her background at all. Did you notice that? He went straight to that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I did go straight to that.
Why would you even say that live on national television and with a female host?
In the normal world, this is just a silly thing to say, but on CNN it's so politically incorrect, it warrants... Excuse me, did you just say that? That is outrageous, and as a woman, I can't go past that. Word of advice, anytime a person says, as a woman, as a feminist, as a Christian, as a white man, as in anything, it's usually going to be followed with some fake outrage. Last but not least, Andrew Dice Clay, the raunchy comedian, started out doing Dice, a character that was supposed to be so outrageous and a ridiculous caricature of a New Yorker that it was funny how silly he was, sort of like Larry the Cable Guy. But as I've said, in those days, Dice was held up high in the media, selling out arenas, but when he didn't toe the line, well, now you're seen as too controversial and pigeonholed as the guy who, for some reason, just can't get booked anymore. What's up with that? But now he's making a comeback. Fast forward years later, and Dice was none too pleased with how the interview was being conducted, and here's what he had to say about it.
I can't even believe it.
You, of course, you were a headline guy.
I'm still a headline guy. You know what I mean?
For a while you popped out, and now you're coming back. For a while you were actually you were running a gym. Tell us about that.
Running a gym?
Weren't you running a gym at some point?
You're supposed to be a news guy. Where you getting your fucking information?
That's our research. You weren't.
This is ridiculous. I come on CNN and the guy don't even know what he's talking about. Go ahead.
You at no point were you running a gym?
No, running a gym. What? You need a workout or something? Jesus fucking Christ, with these guys. I come on the news for 2 seconds, and you want to say, every time I do an interview, a guy wants to open his fucking mouth. Can't even
Andrew,
do a little
thank
fucking
you very much.
routine
We
here.
thought that you could
know what?
hold
Go
back.
fuck yourself. You know what?
All right.
Post your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and also never watch CNN. This is Andrew Says, and I wouldn't lie to you, except for maybe this once.
And we'll be back in just a moment to fill you in on the Art Carney situation.